If you don't understand the lesson I'm about to give you, you're probably going to lose king and pawn endings that you should not lose, and you're going to miss out on victories where you could actually win. So I was playing a training game on my anonymous account, and I had this really interesting endgame come up. And I'm actually going to back up a couple moves just so you can see how we got here. I'm not going to show you the whole game because it was kind of a boring game, but we were down to a couple seconds on the clock. Now, it was an increment game, so there was 5 seconds being added every move. But right in this position, my opponent actually had a win. Knight f2 check is just winning. They missed it. Like I said, we only had a few seconds, and it was a very complicated game, and pieces are moving around quickly, and they missed it and went here. And I was like, okay, this is my opportunity to get rid of that pesky knight. I traded it off. I traded off the rooks, and I played queen g3. Now, I want to ask you, let me go a couple moves actually. I want to ask you guys a question. Should I trade queens in this position or not? And what is something that you should think about before you make that decision? Okay, if you had a chance to pause and think about that, I decided to trade. And the main reason I decided to do this was because if they took with the king, I noticed something about the position. Watch the eval bar carefully here. Watch this. You see how it jumped up in white's favor. Why did that happen? I mean, if you look at this position, I've got 3 pawns over here. They have 3 pawns over here. They're all kind of blockaded. Nobody can really get by. Black has a pass pawn. I have a pass pawn. Like, it looks really equal. But there's one key detail that you need to understand. Why is this so much better for white? It's because what's most likely going to happen, not what's most likely, what's going to happen over the next couple of moves as I start pushing my pawn up the board is that we are going to end up trading these pawns. For example, at some point, black is going to have to take this. If they don't and they try to go back, I'm just going to keep pushing it until they eventually take it. But once they take it, I'm going to take their pawn, and whose king is closer to all these pawns? Well, mine is. That is a huge advantage because what are they going to do? They could try to come down here. They could try to come over, but I'm going to get here and I'm going to take the pawns. And in fact, you have to actually do this very carefully, which is tricky. If you take it now, you let them take it, and actually black's going to win. So what you have to do is sneak in here, stop them, push your pawn first, get this position, and only now you take it. Why? Because your pawn is ready to go. So it's still a little bit complicated, but the point, this is the key point, is that back in this position, once these pawns are traded, my king is closer to black's pawns, right? Here, for example, my king is closer. That's the key, okay? Now, let's go back to what happened in the actual game. My opponent probably recognized that as well, that their king was going to be stuck on the wrong side of the pawns if we traded, so they captured this way. And according to the engine, this is a draw if both sides play correctly. However, I was actually able to trick my opponent. So I played king g3. They pushed. I went here. I decided to go ahead and trade a pawn here. It doesn't really change too much about the position, but I went ahead and traded it. And then right here, I tried to trick my opponent by playing king f5. What move would you play in this position if you're black? King here, or g3? You have 3 options. Which one would you play and why? Go ahead and pause the video. Think carefully about this decision. Okay, so only one of these moves draws the game for black and the other 2 lose. And my opponent actually chose one of the losing moves. Now, the way that they lost is really actually quite fascinating, which we're going to look at in just a second. But first, let's look at some of the drawing moves. So the move that they played was king h5, which is the losing move. You can see the eval bar goes crazy. If they would have pushed the pawn, sorry, did I say that there was only one drawing? Sorry. Yeah, this is also a losing move. Yes, of course. This is losing because of the same reason we already talked about. Their king is cut off. My king is closer. I'm going to come over. I'm going to snag the pawn, and I'm going to get a queen before they do. Okay? So yes, they can't push the pawn because of that reason. King h3 is the draw. This is what they should have done. And it's interesting because if I try to come over here, they're actually going to get a queen in 3 moves, and they're going to win. So I can't do this, right? The only thing that I can do is go here. Now, you might say, wait a second, Nelson, if they take and you take, isn't this the same thing where your king is closer? And it turns out no, because their king is sneaking around this way. So watch what happens. And if I try to go get their pawn, they're going to get mine a little bit faster this time. See that? And it's just fast enough. Queen, queen, and it's a draw. Okay? It's just going to be a draw. Obviously, I can check them for forever, but I can't win because they have a queen and they're going to check me, and it's just a draw. Okay. That's how they need to play to get a draw. Let's go back to the actual game. So in the game, I played here. They fell for my trick and played king h5. Now, the question for you guys, if you would like to pause and think about this very carefully, this is kind of a more advanced question. Why is it a win for me? It's very hard to see actually from this position, but if you want to pause and try, go ahead. All right, if you had a chance to look at that. So let me show you what happened in the game. And by the way, a little trick in a situation like this, if you're trying to think to yourself, okay, can I go here and take this and win, or is black going to win? One easy way to do it is just count. So for example, it's my turn. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to take me 7 moves to get a queen. Okay, how many moves is it going to take black? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which means they are going to get their queen right before me. Mine was 7, theirs was 6. However, there's a really important detail that a lot of people overlook in these types of positions. Look at where their king is going to be. Look at where my queen is going to be. Do you guys see that? You say, yeah, it's going to be a check. So what, Nelson? I'm going to show you why. So let's see what happened. In the game, I played here. And I came over. I took the pawn. They took the pawn. And now we're racing. We're racing. We're racing. They get the queen first. But because my queen, which happened later, but because it's with check, I get to now dictate what happens in the rest of this game. You say, okay, that's great. How does this help you win? Look at the king's position. Who has the better king position in this situation? I do. Because if by some craziness these queens were traded, for example, if black goes here, I'm going to win. I just take it. Take the pawn. And this is an easy win. I just escort my pawn up the board and black can't stop me. You say, yeah, Nelson, but black's not going to do that. Black's not going to trade queens, right? Because they know better. My opponent played king h3. White to play and win. What's the winning idea? Well, yeah, congratulations. If you notice that, we can actually go queen to h8 check, completely covering the h file, forcing the king to go this way, which is bad news because now you're in line with your queen, which means I can force the queen trade, capture the pawn, and I went on to win. They resigned a couple moves later right here because, of course, they can't stop me from getting the queen. This is fascinating stuff. There's a couple of really critical takeaways that you need to understand. First of all, when you're trying to decide, let me keep going, like right here, who's going to win a pawn race? Remember, you can just count usually, and that's going to be good enough in a lot of situations, right? Just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a quick and easy way. Because if you're in a time scramble, you don't have time to like, okay, I go here, he goes here, right? Don't do that. Just count. That's the first takeaway. The second takeaway, look carefully where your kings are going to be when the other person gets the queen. So for example, I need to make sure that my king, after I take this, is not going to be on a square where it's going to be checked by the queen, which is not. Black's it, however, is. Now, black didn't have an option really, but I did. Like I didn't have to go for this line. I could have also just like kept my king here if I wanted to. So that's what you have to think about. And then the other thing is who has the better king position if there happens to be a queen trade. That's another key detail. And then the next thing is, can you force a queen trade? And if so, you can win the game. So these concepts show up a lot in king and pawn endings. And so please remember this. I think this is going to help you guys win a lot of games. Remember, the ultimate goal at the end of a king and pawn ending is get a queen. And so king position, who's closer, makes a really big difference in the outcome. I hope this was helpful to you guys. Sorry. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time. Stay sharp. Play smart. Take care.